Hello my adoring fans, today I met Gandalf. He's a good looking dude. But the main event was Hobbiton. So here is the land outside Hobbiton on the farm that the set was made on. And now you're going to see various shots of Hobbiton. Now I should probably warn you, this is a particularly long video, about 13 minutes. So buckle in, might want to pause it, go get a cup of tea, something to keep you awake through my monologue that I'm about to do. But yeah, so obviously I have been to Hobbiton before and it was very exciting, but Maddie had not. So it was great to be seeing it all with her, and you know, we're both pretty big Lord of the Rings fans, and we even enjoy The Hobbit, you know, it's a spicy movie. So it was really cool to see it again. So, I mean, there are hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of Hobbit holes, but also more to my dissatisfaction. There are hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of flowers with pollen. So if you hear me sneeze, just know that is why. I think I can even feel one coming on. But yeah, so there are lots of different, basically I think the main thing I want to take away from this is so much thought is put into this movie. So a few of the things that I remember the guide telling us about that were particularly mind-blowing were they added kind of hobbies and jobs to the different Hobbit holes. So one had a checkerboard outside it to show that they play checkers, and you know, it sounds like a pretty fun thing for a Hobbit to do. And then they had a town drunk who had a barrel of alcohol outside of him. Not outside of him, well, probably outside of him, I imagine. It's not inside him, but outside of his hole. And also some gardening tools on one of them. He likes to be the gardener. And then they also had a woodworker, I believe, and a beekeeper. Oh my god, perfect timing. There are the beehives on the right. But what you maybe aren't seeing here, because my excellent cinematography, is the hundreds of, well, not hundreds, but the tens of gardeners and people that they had. So we kind of saw them in the background. Here's Maddie slaving away as a water wench. But they had hundreds of people in the background, just keeping it all pretty, making it all look good. All of these trees and stuff are real, except for one tree on top of Bilbo's house. Oh my god, there's me. Except for one tree on top of Bilbo's house, where they had a fake tree, because they had in the Lord of the Rings an original tree, but for the Hobbit, so there it is. But for the Hobbit, it wouldn't take root again. They wanted the tree to look basically a younger version of the same tree, so it's a fake tree. And it has fake leaves, 250,000 fake leaves, which when they were filming, they had to replace them because Peter Jackson got ill for 8 months. And then he came up and they'd been bleached by the blasting New Zealand sun, sorry. And so, but now, to stop them having to kind of constantly repaint them, they've replaced them with plastic ones. I think there was something else I was going to say, but I've maybe forgotten what it was. Oh, and the other thing is that in one of the places they wanted to show it looked realistic, right? So they had someone walk every morning and every evening for 2 weeks up and down to a washing line, so they look like a kind of naturally carved out path rather than a manually built one, just to make it look more realistic, which I thought was pretty cool. Here is the field where Bilbo has his party. That's a winner. This is a big old tree. Interesting thing about this is they gave the local extras who are New Zealand farmers, they gave them alcohol, but to make it realistic and make it not look like they were acting drunk, they told them that it was very alcoholic, when in fact it was only 1%. Talking being drunk, here's Maddie and I running to catch up with the group to make sure we got to the pub in time to get our free drink. Sorry, hay fever. Here is the pub itself. Well, no, this is a mill, but just behind it is a pub. Yeah, I think those are my favourite facts. It was very cool, very good. It kind of made Maddie and I a bit homesick for the winter, as you will see here, inside the little pub and something. You know, it's very cosy, very warm and toasty next to the fire. So that was a good. But yes, Hobbiton. There's the Green Dragon, and then here's the largest, largest trout or something, largest fish caught in the Hobbit world. So that was exciting. And then they had a even Hobbit themed bathroom. But we're going to finish off on, I believe, on a picture of me whacking away, pretending to be a blacksmith. But anyway, then we moved on to our hostel in Rotorua, and it has a climbing wall in it. You do need to pay. Oh my god, I'm about to sneeze. You do need to pay to use it, but it was pretty cool. After that, we went to a Māori thing, cultural thing, and I will tell you. I do apologise for the interruption, but that was a sneeze that was so violent that I dropped my phone. And the recording stopped. But anyway, we had a Māori cultural exchange thing, which was very cool. So here they are arriving in their war canoe, which was pretty exciting. I could see how this would be intimidating. Maybe not so much if you had a gun, but if you didn't have a gun, it would be pretty fearful. So I'm happy that I did not live back in the day as a Māori. But yeah, that thing you saw before I sneezed was like how they cooked the food, which was done underground. They like dig a hole, and then they put some wood in, and then they put some stones on top, and then they burn the wood, and they cover that with dirt, and when the stones kind of drop down into the bottom, they like stay really warm. That's how you can still cook stuff, so that's pretty cool. And I can tell you, as you'll see later, it was incredibly tasty. So, good time. No wonder these Māori lads, they're built like a truck. They eating real good, man. They're eating really good. But yeah, so they had lots of different like dances, and there was like a thing at the start, which was like a chief had to go and pick up a leaf from the Māori chief to show that we came in peace. I was thinking of being the chief, but another guy beat me to it and put my hand up. So sadly, my dreams of chieftain will have to wait for another, another 5 years or something. Maybe one day I'll be a chief in somewhere. But yeah, it was pretty impressive what they did. So they had loads of like dances and stuff, obviously, to just like get hype for war and all that jazz. And they had loads of like techniques that they did to train. And the girls were like throwing things around between them to like practice hand-eye coordination and stuff. And the dudes were doing all these like stick twirling. It was pretty cool. It was quite serious at the start, you know, because you don't want to like disrespect the coach. But then, you know, they kind of got through the the formal part, and it all loosened up, and it was good fun. But yeah, it was really cool. I don't think this is the one I went to before, because it did look different, because I don't remember the little war canoe coming in that exact way. And also, well, you won't see it later, but they took us this little tour late at night after the food, and it's pretty gangster singing all at night time, and it's very, like they say, it's like a spiritual place where we were getting taken around. Not sure of the validity, but I do believe it. And it was like we saw the spring that came out. I think you might have seen that already. I kind of can't remember. The sneeze really threw me off. But we saw like a spring with water bubbling out. It's like the coolest looking spring I've ever seen. And that at night it was surrounded by glowworms. So the glowworms are yet again something you haven't seen, but I have seen yesterday in Waitoma. There weren't quite as many this time, but it was still pretty solid, pretty cool. So yeah, there really is a lot of there's a lot of video still to go. I kind of got a bit trigger happy with the old taking pictures and taking videos, because it was just very cool. Kind of wanted to remember it all. But it was very interesting. It seems like, I don't know, it seems like a pretty solid life, but one that's like pretty hardcore, like, I guess I was kind of thinking of it as like, so this is them 300 years ago, 400 years ago. Us 300, 400 years ago, what were we doing? It's like the 1700s, 1600s. I guess we were starting to like sail around the world and stuff like that. So, it's interesting how different places in the world can be different levels of like technology and lifestyle and stuff like that. That was probably what I found most interesting, because it kind of seemed like they hadn't really changed for 1,000 years or so since they first arrived. Shout out to my boy Coupe, who discovered Aotearoa. I think I pronounced that vaguely correctly, which is New Zealand in Māori. It means the land of the long white cloud. So yeah, that was interesting. Thinking about that, and like it seemed a lot more kind of, they had a lot more space. There was a lot less people and a lot less structure. They still had the tribes who would go to war with each other and stuff. And it sounds pretty savage. They'd like eat your face or eat your brains or whatever. One of the moves they were showing said something about that. I'm not entirely sure. I might be slightly spreading fake news. but it was pretty gangster. I would not want to be fighting a Maori with hand-to-hand combat, or probably at all. They're pretty hardcore. But this is one of the stick throwing things for the girls. Very impressive. And then there are lots of stories about how like one Maori dude and a Maori girl like had a crush on each other, but he had to retreat away from his mom's, his crush's dad's tribe that was on an island, and then she like swam out. She like tied some flotation devices to her and swam out there. And then and then it's like, we don't know what happened that evening, but we're their descendants, so something must have happened. That's quite upsetting. But yeah, just as a slight side note about Rotorua, everyone says it smells very eggy, of like rotten eggs and stuff because of all the sulphur. But I have to say, this is the hacker mother. But I had spot a hacker. There are multiple hackers, I believe. But I don't think it's that bad. We came here when I didn't have hay fever. So obviously right now, I barely smell anything. So I'm immune to Rotorua, which is good because we're going to be here a few days. And in fact, changing buses for the first time. So, for the second time. Well, for the third time. Okay. Changing buses for the first time on the main loop. But it doesn't smell like eggy or that bad. Maddie and I do have plans to go hit the epicenter of the rotten egg locations, bobbling stuff tomorrow. So I'm sure I'll report back differently tomorrow. But no, it's pretty good. Yeah, people were saying when we came in, they're like, wouldn't it be nice to stay extra days? Like, it was so bad, it smelled so bad. But I think they were just some girls being a bit precious to me. Not sure I fully agree. With that, it's a pretty pleasant place. It's 30% Maori population, which I believe is like the highest percentage of the major cities in New Zealand. So that's why all this like cultural stuff happens here. It's got loads of it's like a big area for it. I think this tribe goes all the way down to the Tongariro crossing area and all the way out to the ocean to the east. So it's a pretty big tribe. I think there's something like maybe 30 tribes in the North Island and 4 in the South Island, and 3 of those in the South Island are all squished up at the top. So basically, like one Chad tribe who just like rocks around all the South Island. But I have to say, like from what I heard, there's not much Maori-looking stuff in the South Island because they like their rivers and fishing and stuff. And the South Island is just a lot of mountains and stuff, so it kind of checks out. Anyway, that's a native instrument of the guitar. Anyway, here's the food. And then you're about to see kind of like the entrance to the village that we saw late at night. And then there's a silver fern. And then finally a walk canoe. And I think this might be the end of the video. So thank you for listening to my endless rambling. Hope you've all enjoyed. And I look forward to speaking to you all tomorrow. And adios!